moderated discussion. So to start things off, I'd like to bring up Joel from the Village of Ashwaubenon.
Thank you, Michael. All right, good afternoon, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Village of Ashwaubenon. We're in the heart of it all. I want to welcome everyone to this press conference. I think it's important to note the number of people that are in the room, not only just members of the media, but the people that are at the table with us today. There are folks here from the village, from the city, the county, the state, all over our region. Each of us have been partnering in putting together what will hopefully be an absolutely wonderfully first-class event, not only for the greater Green Bay area, but for the entire state of Wisconsin and the Green Bay Packers. So again, I want to welcome you to the Village of Ashwaubenon. Before we get started, I do want to welcome Max Caesar from Great North Hospitality. We're in a brand new building. In fact, they broke ground just this past year. I think they completed construction in like 12 months, record time, in order to open for the draft. And it's the events like the NFL draft and large-scale events and activities like that that afford the opportunity for business expansion and economic development. And Great North Hospitality is a prime example of that. And so, Mac, I want to welcome you up to the podium here to say a few words and welcome our guests here today. And of course, Mac and his team will be available after today's press conference to answer any questions and provide media availability as well. Mac?
All right. Thanks, Joel. And just want to say thank you to the Village for giving us the opportunity to host. So welcome, members of the media, both local and traveling. Just this last week, we opened Great North Commons, this property, for the first time. And we're very excited, lots of hard work to put this facility together, both with our construction partners, our internal teams, our management teams, and our vendor partners as well. So kudos to everybody that's been involved. Lots of effort, diligence put into this project, and we're excited to showcase it here this week for the NFL Draft.
Thank you, Matt. And now what I'd like to do is introduce Mary Kardosky, our village president here at the Village of Ashwaubenon, that will welcome some other dignitaries here today. Mary.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you to everybody for coming today. What a beautiful space we have here in Ashwaubenon. I'm glad everybody was able to attend. This is a pretty exciting event. You know, we're going to be on the world stage here in little old Wisconsin. Everybody thinks that we all live in very rustic homes, and we get to showcase our beautiful area. From the beginning of a year ago, I think it was a year ago, that Joel and I got together, and we were going to possibly start planning some events for the NFL draft. We had some meetings here with our local business people, you know, the Shemanskys here at 789 Armed Forces and D2s and Stadium View and the bar, and they were going to be having a lot of events of their own, so we thought we did not want to overshadow any of those things. So, you know, everybody can come down and enjoy all those wonderful events here in the village, and everybody will want to come back. So I'm glad everybody's here. There's a lot of people here in the village now that I've never seen before, so we have a lot of excitement going on. So thank you to everybody, and I would now like to introduce the Mayor of Green Bay.
Well, thanks so much, Mary, for the introduction. I'm really honored here to kind of kick off draft week with all these amazing people behind me. As Mary said, you know, this has been a really positive experience, a really collaborative experience. This would not be happening without so many people and entities coming together to make this possible. The city of Green Bay and in our community is obviously the smallest NFL city, but we've got the biggest heart and I think a great ability to come together across municipal boundaries with partnerships across the board to pull together a really incredible event. So just a quick rundown of thank yous from my point of view. Obviously, Mary and the Village of Ashwaubenon. You're going to be hearing from Troy Streckenbach in just a few minutes. The county, the city, the village from a local government perspective has been coming together regularly to tackle some of the important logistical issues that are necessary in putting on an event of this scale. So just really want to recognize their leadership and their willingness to collaborate on a whole host of issues. Also want to recognize, of course, Brad Toll and Discover Green Bay. The Green Bay Packers led in many respects on this issue by Aaron Popke. I know Aaron and Brad have been going to drafts for a very long time, identifying this event very early on after it left New York as a thing that the community here would be able to pull off and do really well. So kudos to them, and again, everybody behind me. Most importantly, our public safety teams, again, not just from the city of Green Bay, but our chief Chief Davis and Chief Knott from Police and Fire, their entire teams. We've heard nothing but compliments from the NFL in terms of how they've been able to come together, again, with county and village public safety to put on a really safe and welcoming event for people. So, you know, I think we're all really excited to get to draft week. We've got a number of things to complement what's going on here over at Lambeau, kicking things off on Wednesday and rounding things off on Saturday down at Liked Park, and then a bunch of downtown Green Bay sponsored events kind of earlier on during the day before things get going here out at the campus. You know, one thing that I heard from mayors who have hosted, from former host cities, from the mayor of Detroit and the mayor of Kansas City, was really, you know, do whatever you can to leverage this event, to put your best foot forward, to attract people into the community, and to kind of circulate them to other places when the event itself is not ongoing. And so that's something that I really took to heart, and as a result of the partnerships that I have talked about, I think we're going to be able to put on some really fantastic events to complement what's going on here with the NFL draft itself. So we've got a lot of other folks to talk, so I'll cut it there, but I'm going to kick things over to our county executive, Troy Streckenbach.
Thank you, Mayor Genrich. What a great day. This building, they knocked it out of the park. And I think that really showcases everything that we've been doing along the whole corridor, the promenade. I know that the city of Green Bay, the village of Ashwaubenon, Discover Green Bay, the Green Bay Packers, we all kind of came together and said, we need to have another vision for the Resch Center complex. And, you know, standing here and getting this type of bird's eye view of the whole promenade leading to Lambeau Field, I think we as a community, just like we're seeing today, as you heard the mayor talk about, the municipalities, the county, our first responders, we're all coming together to really put our best foot forward in terms of making sure that from our capacities, we can do the best job to invite and welcome all these people who are going to be coming to Lambeau Field and to visit and to see this NFL draft in the smallest market in the NFL. From the county's perspective, as you heard me talk about briefly about the Resch Expo, our partner, of course, is PMI. Without their support in running the complex for us, it wouldn't be the success that it is today. And I know that the partnership with the NFL is, from everything I'm being told, is going over extremely well. And again, one of those prizes that we have and we're very fortunate to have with our partnership with PMI. You know, as the public is going to come to the draft, they're going to be coming by the roads. And so Brown County's highway department's heavily involved in working with the state DOT, the local jurisdictions, or they're going to be coming by the air. And I know Marty Piat is here. They're going to be landing in Austin-Straubel. And so we're doing everything we can to make sure that when people are entering into the market, we are making sure that that visit, that welcoming gesture is at the forefront. And of course, Sheriff Delane and Captain Russo are here from our Sheriff's Office. They'll play the biggest role as far as the county and that first responders standpoint. And of course, we have 911, our Health and Human Services departments. They'll be playing an important role. And of course, as you heard the mayor talk about, we're hoping that when people do travel, that they want to get a little bit more of that local feel, that local history, and maybe they travel down to the downtown area and they'll see some of the banners that our library just announced and showcased about, you know, the history of the Packers and what that means to have the smallest NFL team in the market and as part of the system. So whether you're going to our Neville Public Museum to see a great exhibit, you're going out to the zoo, or going to the libraries to learn, we've all kind of put out some information so that the people who are traveling here have an opportunity to learn more about the community. And so I just wanted to say thank you to the whole host of individuals who are ultimately making this the pride of the greater Green Bay area. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to U.S. Congressman Tony Weed to say a few remarks. Congressman?
Wow, I think it's fitting here on Easter Monday to say that we are truly blessed to live in Northeast Wisconsin. Welcome to our great community, and I think it's a testament to our community. You know, we are real America. All of the leaders in our community here behind me and to the side of me that have come together and have unified to put together an amazing event that will be showcased throughout the world here with Draft Week. So it's an honor to be a congressman in such a great community here in Northeast Wisconsin. Thank you to all of you for all of your hard work and keeping us safe and putting on an amazing event. And we look forward to having a great week. So thank you. I'll hand it off to Michael.
Appreciate it, Congressman. Appreciate it, sir. I started putting this press conference together a couple weeks ago thanks to an idea from an assignment director, Brian Curran at Fox 11. So I want to thank him real quick for having this idea, and it's kind of grown and grown, and as you can see, we actually have more people here who could speak than are actually sitting. So we're going to try to move through this in an orderly fashion. First, we're going to talk to the Packers and the NFL. I'll bring them up, we'll talk to them. Then we will bring up public safety, then we'll bring up transportation, and then we're going to work through the different communities and talk about some different community events that are happening outside of the footprint. So for now, I'd like to bring up the team from the NFL, Green Bay Packers, and yeah, I think once you guys come up and we will see who. This is an opportunity for you guys to ask questions. I didn't ask any of these people to prepare anything. So what questions do you have for the Green Bay Packers and the NFL?
Do you have any indication of how many one-pass downloads there are, or what the anticipated attendance is going to be compared to the 250,000 here for so long?
We have an indication, yes. Certainly the reaction in the community statewide, but also within those drivable markets has been really strong. So we do have a number. Our commissioner likes to declare that number from the podium, usually Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so I don't want to undercut him. He's my boss. So, but we know it's going to be tens of thousands of fans that are going to come to this campus over the course of those 3 days. We've worked tirelessly with all the public safety partners, with all of the community members, certainly NFL Security and the Packers and Discover Green Bay, to make sure, number one, that everybody gets here safely. I know it sounds like a really big number. It will be a very big number. But safety is a non-negotiable for us. So we will have a post-event, an aggregate number, which will include our attendance number, our one-pass download number, and then certainly in the coming months, our local economic impact number. But we know it's going to be tens of thousands, and we're really excited to open our doors on Thursday.
Feel free to just show them.
Here. Green Bay being the smallest city, when thinking about planning and having this event come together, any challenges, differences, or benefits from it being a smaller city versus a larger one?
That's a good question. Go ahead.
I don't want to be the designated person. I'm just the bossy person. I think, no, I think for us, regardless of the market that we're in, the collaboration is always the same. So the challenges are always security, weather, emergency planning, bringing all the people to the table, especially our host club and the local organizing committee. So regardless of the city that we're in, whether it's a smaller market like a Buffalo or a Green Bay or a New York or a Los Angeles, because our team that builds the draft also builds Super Bowls and events internationally. So the collaboration is always the same. I think here in a smaller market, there's obviously hotel inventory things that are a little bit shorter than what we traditionally have in a bigger market, but we know that we're going to have all these amazing feeder markets throughout Madison and Milwaukee, drivable NFL markets that are going to come in, and people here don't care if they have to drive 90 miles, right? So it's a totally different thing. But the collaboration and the cooperation, the partnership is always the same regardless of the size of the market.
Can you be specific? You kind of rattled off a couple different challenges. What has been like the biggest challenge that has been just kind of racking your brain that you're kind of like, gosh, this is a big one that we have to kind of work through? And go ahead.
Yeah.
Weather,
Okay.
unpredictability. And I also want to add one thing about, you talk about the size of the city. Your public safety partners in this area are phenomenal. They have done an outstanding job. They've been working on this for a year. A lot of the stuff that we normally have to help facilitate, they took the mantle and ran with it themselves. So by the time we got close, I mean, we were ready to go. They are very, very good here.
Could you maybe be a little specific with, in terms of them being phenomenal and already taking the reins with some of that stuff? Could you be specific with, say, some of that? Or?
Just real quick, I forgot to add this. When you first come up, just say your name, so everybody knows who we are.
So Ralph Ennis, Director of NFL Security. I'm the security lead for the draft. Just stuff like staffing, knowing what their responsibilities are, what they're going to have to do. A lot of the leaders here have went around the country and looking at how we do different drafts in other places, so they knew what to expect. And off of those learnings, they really took they took the lead and put a lot in place prior to us getting here.
You kind of mentioned weather as one of your big things, kind of in that early part of that first answer. Do you want to just elaborate on that? Is that planning for rain, snow?
Yeah, so one of the things when you have an outdoor event, you have to have plans in place for if you have lightning or a severe storm or high winds coming through. So we have to, take the entire draft footprint and make sure we have really solid plans where to send people, how to communicate to them. Even building it, like what you do if you have high winds and big kites, right? So there's a lot of pieces to that. And this time of year in Green Bay, we know it could be 60 one day and 30 the next. So it's a lot of contingencies we have to have a place to be able to address it.
Ralph, a question for you. Could you just kind of walk us through what the security team that you're leading will be doing on draft day?
So from the NFL, we have multiple directors that have different jobs on their day-to-day. They're assigned different parts of the footprint, and they're responsible for working with their public safety partners and making sure that everything stays safe, right? Safety is our biggest thing we worry about at any NFL event. So, we make sure that they're communicating with NFL Control, which is basically a big unified command that exists up in the stadium, and that decisions are being made and instituted in a way that will keep people safe.
Converse that question that I asked to your biggest challenge. Can you share what was the biggest triumph in planning this event? What is something that you were like, gosh, we nailed it out of the park with this. We can't wait to share this with people when they come to Green Bay.
I think, Kelsey, you're getting up here, girl. Kelsey's the one that built this thing. Oh, Nikki Ewell, Senior Director of Events, the NFL, the bossy one. I would say the thing that we're most proud of at the draft in any city that we're in, and certainly here, is how the culture of the state and the traditions of the club show up. I think you'll be really excited to see from every single day, from the opening moment to the programming that we're going to have throughout the 3 days. Day 3 for us is really special because it's this celebration of the community. So the state of Wisconsin is really going to come to life. You're going to see a lot of things from polka and quilting circles to celebrities. Obviously, we're really excited about Brad Paisley and that concert that's really driving a lot of attention. So I think the culture of the state and the traditions of the host club are really what we're so proud of. And we did that in collaboration with really the broader community, of course the Packers, but the food and the music and the traditions are really going to be something that we're really proud of over those course of those 3 days. And we also want to make sure that people know the event is 100% free, except for whatever you buy at concessions or NFL Shop presented by Visa. So this is an event that we're proud of because it's very accessible. Not everybody's lucky enough to get a ticket to a Packers game, right? So this is your opportunity to visit the mecca of pro football, also in a really affordable way. So we're really proud of that work. And also we have different programming every single day. So really encourage fans to come back every single day if they're able, because it's going to be unique every single day. It's not always the same, whether it's the food offerings or the player appearances. We're still actively booking players that are making free appearances. and that schedule will be in the OnePass app. So we're actively getting those guys booked. So it's going to look a little different every single day. Certainly the programming on the main stage, our theater, is going to be different every single day. So we hope we have some repeat guests over the course of the 3 days.
I guess you mentioned you had a
I was going to follow up on that.
Sure. Sorry.
Gabrielle with the Green Bay Packers. I think one of the big aha for us is the collaboration and day-to-day work with our members of our LOC. So Discover Green Bay and PMI. I mean, there are conversations daily, hourly, weekly, and both organizations have just stepped up and helped us get this done. And then also our host committee. We have 4 members on our host committee. Mike Haddad, Kate Burgess, George Kuntz, and Nancy Armbrust, and for raising the money to get us here, and the donors that stepped up to help us host this, not only the state, the Green Bay Packers, and we can get you the other donors, but they all came to the table for this great event in our state. Thank you.
72 hours out, what still needs to be accomplished out in the footprint?
Nick is going to force me. So Kelsey Petrangelo, event operations, overseeing the event. So we started here March 29th. We got a lot done. As you can see, each day we're progressing. At this point, it's really the final touches, the small details that really come together and matter. Operationally, we're feeling really good. We got the theater, the structure up, as everybody can see from behind me. The entries are built. I'm sure you can't miss them on your way in. So really now, this is kind of the final hours as into the lead up of the operational plan, making sure all of the details that we've pulled together for so long are the right ones, and getting the rest of the team on the ground to really refine that, and then add the finishing touches, all of the different decor, lighting, everything that really goes into the overall show and the 3 days.
Noah Cornelius, NBC 26. What do you hope that the communities beyond Green Bay get out of this? Because I cover the Fox Cities, Appleton area. Even though it's a 30-minute drive, I know a lot of people are coming up here for the draft. So what do you hope beyond Green Bay that people get out of this?
This is an event for the state of Wisconsin. So certain cities that we're hosting events, it's about the smaller community. Last year, for example, it was Metro Detroit, Wayne County. This is a statewide draft. But we also know this is such a mecca of football, and people from all over the U.S. really come to this. We certainly have international media. So we want people to see themselves in the programming that we have. We're really proud of the programming that we'll have throughout Titletown and the Rush Center complex. Again, the food experience is really core to what we do with the draft. So we have, of course, our partners Delaware North are curating amazing food, Hinterland in 1919 and The Turn, Bel Air Cantina, plus we have all of these local vendors, source vendors we call them, that are going to be curating the food and beverage experience. So I think we'll get the food right. We hope we get the food right, but we also want to make sure that we're dispelling any notions of what people think Wisconsin is. I think sometimes there's tropes around it, and we certainly have dealt with this in other cities that we're in. We want to make sure that we make the state of Wisconsin proud of what we're going to produce over the 3 days. And that's, again, that's very much in collaboration, as Gabrielle said, with Discover Green Bay, PMI, the Packers. They're influencing everything that we do to make sure that we get it right.
And I know that there's no benchmark for this. I know you mentioned Detroit. That's a big metropolitan area.
It is.
But I guess in all of your careers, have you ever seen anything, an undertaking like this before? And can you kind of speak to that?
I think this is probably one of the larger footprints that we have. I think we're at 70 football fields. It's a smaller market, which I know a number of people have brought up, but it doesn't matter that the collaboration is still the same. It's different because we're in a community. There's houses in residential communities nearby. Last year was challenging because we were in an urban footprint. We had a thoroughfare into Canada that we had to deal with, right? So every single city that we have for a draft, it has its own individual challenges. This one we know is going to be really special, and we hope everybody understands how impactful this is, and also they show up, and we want them to show out in a really big way all 3 days.
Thank you. A question for Aaron. I know this has been almost a decade in the making to bring this event here to Wisconsin. Personally, what's going through your mind on day one of draft week, and how would you define success for this event for Green Bay?
Well, thanks. Aaron Popke with the Packers. And just to dovetail off what Nikki and Gabrielle were saying, and maybe to that question, I'll get to that. But just what does this mean across the state? I mean, even going back to your point, and the mayor mentioned it, this is something that we've been looking into ever since the NFL took it on the road in Chicago
in 2015. We talk about our first survey of interest, which was submitted back in 2015, and Brad Toll is here. He and I went to the draft in Philadelphia. And I think some of the things that we've taken away from being at different drafts, whether it's Brad and his team and PMI and other our leaders that were at these other drafts, just the different campus that each of them was, and the neat setups that we saw. Right away we knew, like, okay, we definitely have this campus figured out. And with the county and the Resch Expo that came online, you know, get a better piece that we were able to add into our survey of interest, and just Titletown and things that improved, we knew that each year and the interest and all those things coming together to make this something that I think the NFL could be proud of. And yeah, we are the smallest market in pro sports, but we are among the most unique of the markets in pro sports. And we leaned into the history and tradition that this franchise has, and Packers fans all around the state know that and around the country. But what's different about the draft is it celebrates all 32 clubs. It celebrates everything that sports is and pro football is, the energy and enthusiasm that comes with it. And we know fans from around the state and from elsewhere that come in and see our community on a football weekend, Packers home game weekend, that's one thing. But now we're going to have fans from all 32 clubs, and just the energy of this really large event that's just not inside the stadium. It takes up all this space. Those are all the extra things that come in that people around the state are going to see. And we did a Business of the Draft tour earlier this year that we went around the state and heard from people that were excited about people coming through and making stops on the way in and on the way out. Even going back to last May when we did our handoff from the state of Michigan and emphasizing the outdoor recreation opportunities that we have in the state. So hopefully people get a chance to take these in across the state and come experience this. And it's something we're really excited about. The Packers are really proud. I know Mark Murphy, even going back to when it went to Chicago, he right away said, hey, you know, they're going to take this on the road, and we have to have it in our community. And we couldn't do it without everybody that's been mentioned, everyone here today. I think the collaboration is one of the triumphs, too, that we saw from what you mentioned earlier. Just everybody coming together and all the fine details that needed to be addressed. It's really something to see, and I think everybody here who works together on so many things saw it to a grander scale with the draft, and we can certainly see that physically, but just all the relationships that have been expanded upon and made deeper because of that, I think is something that we can move forward with, too.
What are you excited about for people to see on television when you think about the millions of folks who might not be able to come to Green Bay and be here physically, but you know the draft draws in millions of folks on TV? What are you hoping that they see about Green Bay on screens?
Well, speaking for the Packers, I think just knowing the work that went into, the planning that went into it, and now seeing the campus take shape, and over the course of the 3 days of the draft, there's going to be over 50 million people that are tuning in. And we all know the networks, they're here on site and they show all the images from the campus, but they also have those shots from out in the community and from around the state. So we know those are going to be really fun to see as well. And I think the energy that goes with the draft, we've seen it in the other cities, celebration of all 32 clubs, and it's the largest off-season event that the NFL has. And the TV viewership, the social media impressions, I mean, those are all things that we're excited to see. Certainly we're proud of Lambeau Field and how that's going to show. And I know the NFL has it set up in such a way that's really going to be special. So I think we're all waiting to see those first shots as you know, the commissioner walks out to the podium to get things underway, and that view of the crowd. And I think the energy that the fans will have on site, as Nikki said, you know, come and be engaged. And you know, we speak of numbers, but even John Barker from the NFL put it well. You know, we're not so focused on the numbers, but the experience that people have when they come here. And we're proud of certainly what our team does at the Packers every day, but all of us in this community, the municipalities, the other partners, and the NFL people. I think the experience is going to be something that leaves an impression, and that's what this also is going to be, a legacy that moves forward. And the memories that people have from coming here, they're going to want to come back and experience Green Bay and Wisconsin again.
Is it too soon to try to get a Super Bowl in Green Bay?
And that I'll defer to the NFL. No, our focus, you know, that the Super Bowl, I mean, this is our Super Bowl. That's what it is. I think maybe I'll let the NFL speak to that, but we're not necessarily a community that would be in the Super Bowl rotation, but I think the idea of the draft was something that they could bring to communities that wouldn't necessarily get the Super Bowl, and it is our Super Bowl. So maybe Nikki, if you want to talk about that.
You can host the NFC Championship.
Yes.
I'd love you to host the NFC Championship.
As many championships as we can.
I think one thing we'd like to make sure that the community knows too is we worked really tirelessly to make sure that the operations of this event are really seamless. So all that know before you go messaging was something that we pulled together with this broader team. So I know there's been some notions of maybe avoid coming, it's going to be crowded, it'll be crowded. That is what the backdrop of television is. This is a really compelling backdrop when you have a sea of green jerseys outside the theater in that standing room only. So we've worked really hard to make sure that you have all the information in one pass before you come. You know where to park. You know that the clear bag policy is in effect. You know that there's water filling stations on site, that it's free, that there's amazing merchandise to be had and food and beverage. We worked really hard to make sure that all of that messaging is out there. Don't avoid coming to the draft. This is what the television show uses as its backdrop. When you saw those sweeping shots in Philadelphia or Chicago or Detroit, of course, Las Vegas, all those cities that have hosted since 2015, what makes 50 million plus tune in is because they want to see what's happening on site. So it's the responsibility of everybody in Wisconsin to safely come down to the site, wear your Packers jersey, get into that sea of green, and get ready for the show.
I want to follow up on one thing real quick that Nikki, so we don't have any issues with people getting in the draft. I encourage everyone to go nfl.com/draft. All the facts that you need are there. Additionally, parking, much like Packers games, there's availability of parking in the neighborhoods and information on traffic if you're thinking about the best way to come and go. If you go to greenbay.com, there in transportation tab, there's a bunch of information about where you could park, what roads are closed, and such like that. And it'll make your life a lot easier if you do your research before you come.
Yep. All right. NFL leadership, really quickly, something that surprised you perhaps from being in this part of the state or Green Bay if you've never been here before?
My love of Kringle.
Actually, I can't
love
say
you.
that.
I do love you. I love you.
There's a beverage that you can only buy in Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah. It's not that.
All right, and with that, thank you guys. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to invite up our partners in law enforcement and public safety. So Green Bay Police, Village of Ashwaubenon, FBI. Those are loud chairs. All right, again, shout out your questions and we'll figure out who is the best person to answer. So again, we have the FBI, Brown County Sheriff's Department, Green Bay Police, Wisconsin DOT, FBI. So public safety questions, go.
Maybe a question for Captain Allen. We've heard the comparison brought up multiple times about how this is comparable to, say, 3 Packers football games in a row. But what makes this different from that?
Well, Captain Allen isn't available today, but I'm Chris Davis, Chief of Police here in Green Bay. I think there are two main things that we look at that make this event very different from a Packer game. One is the potential size of the crowd. If you look at the number of people who have attended this event in the past, sometimes that can be more than we would even see at Lambeau Field at a home game. The other is just the size of the footprint. When we have a football event, the event really is confined to the stadium, and you go outside the stadium and it's really quiet out there. There'll be a lot more going on around the stadium, and then just more going on in the immediate area around the draft campus. And so it's a much larger geographic area to manage. And this is taking place in 3 different jurisdictions: the city of Green Bay, the village of Ashwaubenon, and Brown County.
With as Chris mentioned, what does all the collaboration look like once this event happens? What's a chain of command, or say there's something that does happen, God forbid we don't want anything to happen, but what is that going to look like come Thursday once everyone is here?
Well, that's one of the things that doesn't look different from a Packer game day, because we all work together already to keep those events safe, and we work very closely with the Brown County Sheriff's Office, the village and with the Wisconsin State Patrol for the incident command or event command for public safety. It's all of us, myself, Sheriff Delane, Chief Knott, Chief Rolling, will be the ones who make the decisions if it comes to that. We'll have an operations, we call it a section chief, on duty at all times to make things happen and respond to events in real time.
I guess, how are you guys expecting the type of the crowd, or I guess they say it's going to be an energetic crowd, but it's my understanding it's not expected to be as rowdy a crowd as on game days in terms of ejections or law enforcement interventions.
Well, I might be biased, but I think we have the best fans in the NFL, so our Packer home games, I don't know that I would refer to those as rowdy, but what we expect just from seeing what's happened at these events in the past is this tends to be a very family-friendly event without a lot of issues for us to deal with in terms of disorder.
Chief Davis, can you talk about how you're kind of balancing covering the draft but also doing kind of the day-to-day law enforcement in Green Bay to keep people in other parts of the city safe if you have a major call elsewhere in the city?
Sure. I think for all of our public safety agencies that you see represented here, this event will be, we'll use a lot of our resources and we'll be stretched a little bit, but we have a plan to add to staffing and patrol so that we can respond to any increased demand for service. I know we've been working very closely, especially with the sheriff, on emergency coverage, looking at it more countywide. I think he could probably talk to some of those plans. And then, obviously we'll have pretty much every employee of the police department, with a few exceptions, at one time or another will be here working at the event. But we're managing the event separately from patrol services and the rest of the city, and then we do still have investigative services that have to come to work every day and handle any major cases that come up in the city, but we've got it covered.
Speaking of adding staff, what does that look like? Are you bringing in other officers from other jurisdictions, not Brown County, to help out? If so, maybe where are they coming from? Or what does that kind of look like?
Well, we've been able to staff this event from the police side with pretty much people only from Brown County agencies. Some of the other cities in Brown County and the Oneida Nation will be sending some help to the event. The sheriff's office, I don't know how many people you have coming, Sheriff, but between the sheriff's office and the city of Green Bay, we're able to staff a lot of it, and then Ashwaubenon has, I think, pretty much everyone who works there working. We will have to bring in some specialized resources from farther away. We have some folks, I believe, coming from State Patrol and DCI for some of those specialized roles, and our partners at the FBI and some other federal agencies as well.
What's the FBI's role for the draft?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Hensel. I'm the special agent in charge for the FBI for the state of Wisconsin. The FBI is no stranger to the NFL draft. Each year, wherever it is, we coordinate with our state and local partners to provide assistance. Really, it focuses on three main areas. The first, intelligence, and that looks at, are there any known threats, which there are not any known threats to the draft this year. The second really focuses on investigative resources. If there's a necessity for us to look at violations of federal law, we have agents and we have intelligence analysts and our other professional staff able to do that. And the second, and probably the biggest piece that we bring to this event, is looking at our crisis management components. So as the chief said, we staff that from across our different investigative and crisis management teams, and that focuses on things like weapons of mass destruction, bomb technicians, SWAT programs, things of that nature.
What will the FBI be physically doing to monitor any online or in-person threats during the draft?
Right, that's a normal component that we do on any large-scale event within the state. Most recently, Republican National Convention. We spent over 18 months preparing for that. This time it's been over the last year looking at those potential online threats or anything that could impact the event or the safety of the people who live here in Wisconsin or those who travel to the event. So we real-time monitor those type of areas on the internet that may result in threat information. We also aggregate our information with our other 55 field offices across the United States, and we're in over 100 countries. So we're able to pull from all those different areas, and at the federal level, we also deal with our federal partners that can provide us information that would be relevant to this event.
Compared to the RNC, can you say, have there been less
Well, what I could tell you in relative terms, that was a much larger event with a lot more people coming into the state. At any one of these events, there are always things that we look at, we assess, we determine whether it needs to be addressed. And again, it's not just here. If we see something from a different state, we can use our FBI offices there to address those.
What about specifically human trafficking? I know we've done multiple stories on organizations concerned about that being a threat, a concern, especially with an event of this magnitude.
Yeah, it's always a large scale concern. Human trafficking, anytime there's a large event, it's something we look at. I have an entire investigative program that looks at human trafficking and violent crime against children. Anytime we have something like this, whether it's Summerfest down in Milwaukee, whether Republican National Convention, or here at the draft, that's part of what we do. I know it's also something our state and local partners have also launched an initiative this week, and they've been focusing on that as well.
Is there any sort of like added pressure when you have these outdoor open events where large groups of people are gathering?
You know, from our perspective, most of our events end up being outside. It's, you know, what we really look at is how we coordinate with our state and local partners and how we together bring our resources together that can most effectively allow the safety of the event to move forward. And we've done that here as well.
This might be a question for either Sheriff Delaney, maybe some of the local municipalities here. What do you see as the biggest challenge? Obviously, we've heard how large of a campus this will be as opposed to past drafts. And obviously it impacts a major roadway in Lombardy. So what do you see as that biggest challenge once people are here?
Well, anytime you have a 3-day event, it's the operational period. So to maintain that over 3 days is always a challenge, and that has been the challenge when we looked at it going back 18 months to now, is just sustaining that operational necessity that we have to have for a draft over that time period. But listen, everybody behind me, we have been working on this for well over a year. Public safety is prepared. And you heard it, I know Aaron said it before, you've heard it numerous times about the culture of Northeast Wisconsin. And so what I would encourage anyone is to find a friendly face. Anyone in uniform, police, fire, the sheriff's office. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. That's our culture. We're willing to help, provide some guidance, and have a great time. We've been preparing for this for an extended period of time. We feel we're prepared for this event. We just want people to bring their energy, support their clubs, have a wonderful time. If you need any assistance, reach out to any one of us in uniform. We're here to help. That's what we all signed up to do, and enjoy their time here in the Green Bay area, Brown County, Northeast Wisconsin. So, you know, a special thank you to all of our public safety partners throughout Northeast Wisconsin, as well as the state, the Wisconsin State Patrol, our federal partners in the FBI. A lot of work went into it, and now it's just a matter of enjoying it for, you know, the people that are traveling here. And again, do not hesitate to reach out to any of us. We're here to help. If you see anything that you want us to look into, anything suspicious, anything like that, just like normal, to just reach out to us and we'll take a look at it. That's what we're here for. But really, have a great time. Know that your public safety professionals have spent an extensive period of time preparing for this, and we're ready to get it going. Thank you.
Really quickly,
yes.
Any sort of scams or things that all of these visitors should be aware of, or that you want people that you're hearing about that are out there, you know, related to the event that people should maybe be aware of?
I'm not specifically aware of any scam that's going on, but again, you know, it's like normal. If something doesn't seem right, it's probably not right. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. So, you know, anytime you draw a lot of people in one place, there will always at times be somebody trying to take advantage of individuals. So, again, if it seems out of place, not right, just reach out to one of the friendly faces in uniform and we'll help. So, thank you.
Do you have a number on like how many public safety officials will be staffed each day, or do you know how many people are all working this event?
Well, I'm not going to get into specifics on our security plan, but let's just say, most agencies are sending, locally, everyone that we have available will be working for the most part. To see 200 people, 300 people in uniform, once you start including police and fire and the sheriff's office, is not going to be out of the norm. And those are the ones that you're seeing. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much to this group. Randy, I'm going to have you stay here for 1 second. We're now going to talk about transportation. Randy, if you could actually come up to the podium first. We hear a lot of talk, the roads are going to be crazy. Can you talk a little bit about what people should be expecting over the next couple days on the roads?
Randy Asman, Traffic Supervisor, Wisconsin DOT. As everyone has mentioned prior, we have been working on this collectively between the village, the county, the state, the city, and everyone else. We've been working on this for a while. Obviously, we have all come together weekly, if not monthly, initially, and we're really got our heads together on what the plan should be, how to get to the event, what exits to take, what roads are going to be closed, how we're going to get the messaging out. Today didn't appear to be too bad, right? But every day we get closer to Thursday, it's going to get more and more busy, right? So if you're a local person to the Green Bay area and you don't want to partake in the draft, but you have to get to and from work, to and from school, obviously you're going to want to leave early. Know before you go, use 511. That's an excellent resource. Look at the message boards that we put out on the roads to give you a little bit more additional information, but do your planning before you go anywhere Thursday, Friday, Saturday. What's the best place or the best time for you to leave? Do you need to take a different route around the city? Or if you're coming to the draft, make sure you look specifically at the OnePass app or Discover Green Bay to make sure you figure out where you want to park, what exit you're going to take, and that sort of thing.
Thank you very much, Randy.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to bring up Patty from Green Bay Metro, Marty Piat, the airport director at Austin Straubel. And I think I should start real quick with you, Nick. Nick with AAA, they made an announcement this morning where if you could just talk a little bit about what you guys are going to be offering.
Oh, sure. So AAA is proud to help welcome the draft to Wisconsin, and we stand ready, our travel agents and our roadside assistance technicians, to help all of our members get to and around Green Bay as much as possible. But we also are very pleased to announce we'll be launching and activating our Tow-to-Go program throughout the draft period. A lot of Wisconsin residents are familiar with this program already. We typically run it during major holiday weekends when there's a heightened concern about impaired driving, and we have decided to initiate it for the draft week. So between 6 p.m. on Wednesday and 6 a.m. on Monday, anyone, whether they're a AAA member or not, who feels that they are not safe to get behind the wheel, knows that they need a safe ride home. If they haven't made arrangements otherwise, they can contact us and we'll give them and their vehicle a safe ride to a safe location within a 10-mile radius. We just really want to remove any obstacles or excuses for people making the decision to still get behind the wheel, particularly concerns about leaving their vehicle somewhere overnight and having to come back and get it. We'll take your car with and put it back at your hotel or wherever you need it put back at, so that it will be with you the next morning when you wake up. Again, we look at this program as sort of a last resort for folks who didn't already have a plan. We really encourage folks to have a plan before they head out, whether that's utilizing public transit or ride shares, cabs, free shuttle services that may be offered. But again, we just want to be that last line of defense to make sure no one is making an unsafe decision this week that puts themselves or others at risk and ruins what should otherwise be a really, really special event for everyone.
Thank you very much, Nick. Speaking of transit, hoping Patty, you could talk a little bit about some of our bus routes.
Absolutely.
For the next couple days.
I'm Patty Kiwis. I am the transit director for the city of Green Bay. And so we typically provide all the game day service for typical NFL games. So this is obviously a much higher scale, but we're super excited for this. The city will be providing a route that is from downtown to Titletown that will be operating on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That service will start from downtown. All that information is available on our website as well, which is greenbaymetro.org. But you can go on there, .gov. But you can go on there and you can see where that route will come through. So it comes through downtown on Washington, over to Walnut 9th Street, and we'll come right out to the corner of St. Agnes and Ridge Road, so which is near one of the entrances. So that gives individuals the opportunity to go in different areas of the community, go downtown, try different things, park outside of that draft footprint, and hop on the bus and be able to take that here. We do have some other routes that will be detouring during the draft as well that typically comes right by Lambeau Field. So I think just to, reiterate what everybody else said, double check your plans and your paths and your travel patterns because everything is different. But as with typical drafts or typical NFL service that we do provide to the stadium, the city will be providing that route at no charge. So.
All right, I guess our last speaker here, Marty, if you could just talk a little bit about what's it been like the past couple of weeks for you guys?
Yeah, thank you. It's been an interesting week, but I think first of all I would like to thank a number of groups, starting with our airlines. Our airlines have added almost double the number of seats that we have on our market over the course of this week. So our goal is to make the NFL draft experience all about Green Bay and making sure that our passengers can get in and out efficiently and safely. We've also worked very closely with our rental car agencies to make sure that there's enough inventory to get back and forth from the draft stage to the airport. We've worked with the FAA, Air Traffic Control. We've worked with, again, our airlines, the TSA, all of our stakeholders, retail, gift shops, just to make sure that the experience is great through our airport. We know that the people that are flying in, we're the first thing they see when they arrive. They're the last thing they see when they leave. So we want to make sure they're treated well, have a great experience, an easy experience, and look forward to coming back to Green Bay at a future date.
Any questions?
Does anyone know the availability of rideshare apps like Uber or Lyft or how that is kind of looking like?
From an airport standpoint, I can tell you that we do have Uber and Lyft that operate at the airport. We have worked with them as well to make sure that there's additional inventory. So from an airport standpoint, there shouldn't be any issues getting back and forth.
And I will just add, again, I know they keep stressing the NFL One Pass. I would stress that again, because you can go in there under transportation. You will see all the information on public transit and the various modes of transportation. We also have a microtransit, which is a GBM on-demand service that runs similar to an Uber and Lyft. All of those transportation options are all listed under transportation on that One Pass.
Maybe really quickly, if the downtown to Titletown shuttle, if the draft runs later, is there flexibility for extending the schedule if, maybe, I saw that it was extended to 11 p.m. Already, but is there talk of added flexibility if the event does go later?
I think from our perspective, it's similar to a Packer game, right? The games are never done when they're supposed to be. We run into overtime and all of those types of things. So I will tell you, we do monitor that very closely. Staff will monitor it. We will not leave people stranded there in any means. So we do have a cutoff time because we want people to make sure they're getting over there so we can get people out. We do start service early the next morning, but yes, we will make sure we get people transported out.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, guys. Next, I'd like to talk a little bit about economic impact and some tourism. So if Brad, you could come up, and maybe Terry could you maybe come on up here too? I have some questions. We talked to the Packers and the NFL, but this beautiful complex back here, the Resch Center, Resch Complex, Terry runs for us. And Troy could talk to this too. Any questions about general economic impact, those kinds of questions for these three gentlemen?
Have your numbers changed at all from the $94 million impact to $20 million local impact that you originally had put out there?
Yeah, the initial projection was $20 million for Brown County,
Economic impact, $94 million for the state. We have not updated that, given one pass registrations are still coming in. However, one piece of information that is somewhat new, we have a study that we've contracted from an independent firm. So they will be studying the economic impact for the week, and we'll be releasing those numbers in June. So you can expect an update or a true up, if you will, on those numbers in June.
I would just say that, based on the number of increased Airbnbs, from Brown County's perspective, maybe not necessarily from a statewide standpoint, we're anticipating more spend in the Brown County area, just for the mere fact that we actually have more people staying in Brown County than what we originally thought in the past.
Is that just tracked through licenses, or how are you tracking that?
Mainly through the licensure standpoint. So about 1,000 additional were asked in the last year. Is that about right?
Yes.
It's about 1,000 additional rooms that were requested, or Airbnb. So hotel rooms, if you look at that.
Are you guys tracking at all how many are actually being booked?
No.
Terry Charles from PMI Entertainment Group. So our building is going to be the nuts and bolts of the draft once it gets started. Something you won't see us will be behind the scenes. But one economic impact thing that maybe isn't thought of as much is that we've been feeding construction workers for the past several weeks. So I talked to my chef this morning. We're already at over 30,000 pounds of food that we have been feeding construction workers, and for the draft, the media, the green room and stuff. So we're keeping the food companies very busy, I should say, and the semis have been coming left and right bringing food. So our role really is behind the scenes, kind of a weird thing for us. We're generally the center of attention. We're back of house for this event, but we're happy to play that role. And while Troy Streckenbach is standing here, he doesn't know I'm going to do this, though, but I think it needs to be said that the draft very likely would not be happening this weekend without his vision and leadership to get the Resch Expo built several years ago. His funding plan, him and his administration got that done. And, the draft may have been here even sooner, perhaps, if the building was done sooner. But obviously we had COVID to deal with. So a very important fact not to overlook that because of him and his administration, we're even standing here today.
And if I can just add to that, also Ashwaubenon was very involved in that. And PMI helped design that building, and having a chance to see it with the draft inside of it, unbelievable. They did an awesome job designing it and building it. So thank you to the Brown County Board and to our executive for giving us this asset.
I just wanted to add a couple things about local economic impact. PMI has been feeding us good on every planning trip too, so thank you for that. So just a couple things. When you talk about local economic impact, it's definitely, of course, heads and beds and revenue in the airport, but it's also individual households that are benefiting from all of the jobs that are available. When you talk about contract labor, you talk about private security deployment, you talk about all the teammates. The NFL doesn't use volunteers. We pay a livable wage for all of the people that are building this massive event, but also running all of the operations Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So think about all of the people that we're putting to work in the community, which is really impactful. And when we talk about local economic impact as well, we're talking about, as they mentioned, catering. We feed a tremendous amount of people on this site so that we can build it in a constructive way. So all of the catering companies, we have a number of source vendors. Those are our local diverse-owned businesses that are part of the program. We have Delaware North, of course. They're going to be the ones that are managing all of the bars and a number of concessions footprints and pop-up bars and concessions. We have catering companies. We have construction companies. We have porta-john companies. We have tenting companies and flooring companies. So we have a number of different businesses that help us build this. So there's a ton of local economic impact. As Brad mentioned, it'll come out in June, but it's not just what you think about contracts, it's individuals being put to work. The other thing I would say to the gentleman that brought up designated driver program and making sure it's safe, the draft is presented by Bud Light, but we want to make sure that everybody is safe when they come here. We're working with Delaware North. They're the ones that hold the liquor license for the campus, so they of course do this on Packers Day, game days, so they understand the protocol related to the alcohol policy that we have. This is not a rowdy event. This is actually a very friendly event. Even Vikings fans and Bears fans and Lions fans, there's no fisticuffs happening. It's actually a very, there's been events that we've hosted with hundreds of thousands of people with no arrests. So we are very much in lockstep with our partner Anheuser-Busch to make sure that everybody leaves here safely. But all of the public safety partners will come together to make sure that, number one, this is a very family-friendly, safe event, and we put a lot of effort into that work.
Just want to say something about the economic development. One of the things that we've been hoping when we built the Rush Expo was, how do we take this market that historically stays within that 2 to 3 hour drive? How do we actually reach into the Detroit market, the Chicago market, the Minneapolis market? We're able to really showcase what PMI designed and built that allows us to actually now, as we're hearing from PMI, the Green Bay Packers, we're actually going to be able to reach into those markets and draw in business that we historically really were never able to compete for. And again, it's from our standpoint, that economic development standpoint, from a heads and beds, that tourism perspective. And we're going to be able to showcase the greater Green Bay area, Northeast Wisconsin, really in a really special way that allows us to finally take advantage of an asset like this. So,
questions? Brad, quick question. I know there's been a lot of talk about not so much the number focus, but more the experience that people will have when they come to Green Bay perhaps for the first time. How do we measure a variable like experience?
Well, it's hard to measure that, without, or to any definitive way, I guess. But we do at all of our visitor information locations. We'll have 3, actually a 4th one over at the airport. So a lot of it is talking with visitors as they come in, as they leave, that feedback. I don't know if the NFL does some surveying afterwards on the event. So we look very closely at that. We do have some people that will be surveying to get the economic impact numbers. They'll be surveying during the event. And some of those things that we're very interested in is their impression of our community before they came to the draft, and now that they're here, what's your impression? Has it changed? And what are some of the words that they would describe about our community once they've experienced it? So that's very important to us. One other thing, economic impact-wise, that I'll mention is, and it was actually mentioned a little earlier, about 55 million eyes on our community. That's a 3-day commercial that literally people are watching all over the world. Our budget at Discover Green Bay is not something that could begin to try and buy that kind of coverage. So the NFL is really giving us an opportunity to showcase our community and our state around the world. And it's really hard to put a price tag on that. That won't be part of the economic impact study. Yep.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Two more groups, guys. I promise we're getting through this. If I could bring up the folks from the Village of Ashwaubenon and the City of Green Bay, Mayor, if you want to come up here, if anyone had any. They spoke already in the introductions, but we didn't offer them an opportunity, or you guys an opportunity to ask them questions. So if anyone has questions for Mayor or Village President, now is your opportunity.
Any questions?
Covered a lot of ground.
Yes.
Already.
Said everything you needed to say in the beginning. Excellent. Keep it rolling. All right, our last group. As you know, what's happening here is very important, but what's happening across the community is also very important. So there's a number of events that are going to be happening. So I'm hoping to bring up James, our folks from On Broadway, our folks from downtown Green Bay, folks from Military Avenue Business District. If you could all come up and let's talk a little bit about some of the other things that you'll be seeing outside of the draft footprint. I'll just pitch it to Brian because he'll just go for a bit. Brian, talk a little bit about what's going on.
All right, Brian Johnson with On Broadway. Look, our job is to curate a holistic and a complete visitor experience. We know that anytime somebody visits a big event like the draft, they want to experience the rest of the community as well. And so that is our role as a team up here, is we're all doing different things in our respective areas. And if you've heard one theme today, it's collaboration. and that is no different than the things that we are doing. One of the events that On Broadway is doing, Wednesday night, the Draft City Music Fest, which Wisconsin Public Service has graciously sponsored, 8th Round Downtown, which will be Saturday, which includes a number of concerts and other family-friendly activities. So we're the shoulder dates of the draft, and our goal is to really make sure that when people come to our community, they can experience what we get to experience every single day as people who live here. We were ranked the #1 city in America, and we were ranked that for a reason. And it's because Green Bay consistently punches above its weight when it comes to the experiences that you get to have here in our community. So you will see De La Soul as our headliner on Wednesday night. That will also include a variety of other local and regional bands that will be performing, as well as fireworks sponsored by Festival Foods. And on Saturday night, we have Less Than Jake, a very popular ska band. We have Jizza with Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang is forever, heart. So, but rest assured, the guy with the khakis and the collar shirt and the vest did not book the music. So you know it'll be good. Tom Johnson, the man with the backwards hat, who looks way cooler than I do, is to thank for that, and Allie Tutt and Mary Rhodey from our team, who have done a great job with helping to coordinate this. So we hope you come on out and experience Wednesday and Saturday night down in the Broadway district at Light Memorial Park.
Brian, as far as getting down there on Wednesday night or Saturday night downtown Green Bay for the music festival, what's your message to people as far as parking and the logistics of that? Because a lot of people coming to downtown at one time.
Yeah, I mean, the parking ramps are a block away, 1 to 2 blocks. You obviously have city streets, you have some other private lots. I think a lot of times, especially for those not from around here, every single Wednesday night in the summer, we attract 15,000 people to come to the farmers market. They find a place to park. If you build it, they will come, and I think we've done a great job of building it, so we know people find a place to park, but utilize those ramps, right? That's your best opportunity for high-capacity parking.
Brian, do you have a sense of attendance for either the weekend events that are coming up, or some of the activities that downtown Green Bay has planned, the Living Heritage Trail, Booyah Battle, stuff like that?
Yeah, and I'd be challenged to talk about it in aggregate, and I think you've hit it on the head, Jeff, and that is we're all planning, I think, for an expectation, because we'd rather overplan and then make sure that we're prepared to deliver a really top-rate experience. And so, look, our organization does the 4th of July, so outside of the draft and Packer games, I mean, that event attracts over 50,000 people a year to the downtown, so we are incredibly prepared to be able to execute something. But I think right now, we're assuming around the 10,000 range, maybe a little more with bands like this. But we'll be prepared either way.
Hi, James Anderson, City of Green Bay Parks Deputy Director. So Aaron mentioned a little bit about the history. I wanted to point out we are over at Old Historic City Stadium Field on Wednesday from 11 to 2 over behind East High School there. We're putting on Field Fest in collaboration with the Green Bay YMCA. It's going to be a really nice way to kind of get families, kids warmed up, ready for some of the other activities and the draft going on Thursday. So I also wanted to mention, I know we don't have to with the Packers and the NFL coming into town. I know we don't have to get people excited about that, but to reiterate what Brian said about Wednesday night, that is going to be a really free, family-friendly event. It's going to have a nice balance, a combination of both the concert with the main stage and all the different acts going on that night that are very popular, but it's also going to have family-friendly kid zones with a playground, with a glow zone, with magic and balloon animals and face painting and glow-in-the-dark stuff to give out and all sorts of fun stuff. So we like to think that, as the Parks Department, sometimes we get dubbed as the fun department, and so we had a really exciting time collaborating with all these different entities and really having a family fun event as well as a great concert event. So it's kind of a good mix of both, and also wanted to give kudos to the media. The media was so great over this last couple months and coming in and highlighting everything we have to do, because also we don't have a marketing budget. So, I mean, it's really great that you guys came together and really embraced this, and it's both for the local community and for our guests. So it's a great balance of both over those days. The Touchdown Downtown umbrella and all the people that were involved in all these activities, it was just really an exciting thing to work with. So.
Jeff Merkis, I'm Executive Director of Downtown Green Bay Incorporated, one of the collaborative partners with On Broadway and the city and the Parks Department and others. It's a really exciting time for our organization to be able to showcase some of the quality of life in our community. And for so many years, our community and business leaders have been trying to find a way to better connect the downtown district and the Titletown district. And I think they really hit on something. Bring the NFL draft to Green Bay, Wisconsin, and that'll do it. I'd like to thank the Packers and Discover Green Bay for their initiatives in bringing the draft here. But from where we stand right now, downtown Green Bay is exactly 3.0 miles that way. I'd also like to thank, and during the draft, I could not be more pleased that there will be a transportation program. So much collaboration took place to be able to highlight the spirit of our community, the culture of our downtown. Special shout out to our transportation director, Patty, Green Bay Metro, for coming up with the plan, for coming up with a easy, convenient way that a bus is going to leave downtown every 15 minutes for a free ride to a drop-off very close to the draft entry. We want people to go back and forth, find some fun in the downtown area. Speaking of fun, obviously there's a lot of history. There's over 100 years of history in our community in support of the Green Bay Packers. And what I have witnessed over the past year is incredible, how some of that history is going to come to life literally on Thursday morning. So one of the events is the Living Packers Heritage Trail, which is going to feature about 17 historic sites, many of them in the downtown area, but 11 of those sites will have an actor portrayal. We will be having Vince Lombardi at the Hotel Northland. This is the hotel that the Packer opponents stayed in the 50s and 60s, a ton of Lombardi history at that property. Curly Lambeau will be at the Northern Building just a few blocks away, and many other sites. I'm sure you will all want the map and guide and information. Happy to provide that to you as well. Just a couple of other fun events that we want to show and feature the quality of life in our community because it's strong and it's rich and over 100 years supporting an NFL franchise. So on Friday morning, we have the Booyah Battle and the Kringle Combine. The community is going to have a fun time. 13 Booyah chefs are going to be featuring their best recipes, partnering with nonprofit organizations, and all the dollars raised go to those nonprofit organizations. You know, to give you an idea just how popular chicken booyah is in this community. My mom and dad made the chicken booyah for 30 years at our church picnic, and the featured entree at my mom's Easter meal this week was chicken booyah. The Farmers Market Draft Edition on Saturday morning. We have many great farmers markets in the area. We've never had one in April before, so here goes. Along with that Saturday farmers market, there will be a draft day 5K. And so tons of fun things. While I wasn't asked the question, if over 50 million people are going to be watching the NFL draft from throughout the world, what are the things that I would love to have people see? I would love them to see our world-class boardwalk called the City Deck, the beautiful lights throughout the downtown. I'd love to have them see the Fox River. We have a bridge named the Bart Starr Bridge and a beautiful Bart Starr Mill close by. We have a bridge called the Ray Nitschke Bridge, and Ray Nitschke is breaking out of a brick wall. How appropriate. So a lot of history in the downtown, a lot of fun, and I've just a quick shout out for those organizations, dedicated personnel, who have just been, they can't wait to show off everything that our city has to offer. Thank you.
I just wanted to add real quickly, because our two organizations collaborate very closely for downtown events. Touchdowndowntown.com is where you'll get the full list of all these activities. And if downtown Green Bay is 3 miles away, the Broadway district is 2.8, so stop by us first.
Brian, I had this note that the most important site is the OnePass app, and the second is greenbay.com. And the third site that everyone needs to know is touchdowndowntown.com. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, just real quick, I wanted to introduce Leah Weicker. These business districts, talking about being close. How close are you? You actually abut.
We are abutting the edge, and we're going to help you get the party started with breakfast all day, all 3 days. Military Avenue butts up against Lombardi Avenue, and we have a little party, a tailgate party, family-friendly pricing, right at the intersection of the draft. So we hope you can make it to Military Avenue. And our businesses are still open on Military. Please try to come down. It's going to be busy on this end, but seriously, like even during a Packer game, people tend to stay away from our all off-price retail is amazing on Military Avenue and all-day breakfasts. Go down there. It's not going to be that crazy busy, and you can maybe even grab a parking spot. Thank you.
Any questions for these folks? Okay, with that, thank you so much to everybody who spoke. Thank you to all the media for coming. I truly appreciate it, and I guess this wraps it up. Thanks.